bit tonight. In the summer of 1958, Groucho Marx took his daughter Melinda, his friend and producer Robert Dwan, and Robert's daughter Judy for a 6-week trip to Europe, including a trip to Germany. While in Germany, they attempted to visit the cemetery where Groucho's grandmother was buried, only to find the entire Jewish section had been eradicated by the Nazis. A few days later, Groucho hired a car to take them to East Berlin, where he asked to see the remains of Hitler's bunker and last resting place. They found it much the way it was right after the war, a heap of wreckage and rubble. Marx got out of the car, climbed on top of the rubble, and proceeded to do a frenetic Charleston routine, an ultimate act of defiance. No one laughed. They left Germany the next day. It's worth reflecting on that image of Groucho Marx literally dancing on Hitler's grave without even a hint of humor in the moment as we continue to process the events of the last weeks. Rabbi Capel, in conversation with me and a few others at a staff meeting, reflected that it seemed as if the march in Charlottesville sent the entire Jewish community into shock, and that we are still wrestling with what we should be doing. I mentioned this to a non-Jewish colleague a few days ago, who said that he shared with his congregation the following question based on the prophets. Are we responding to the events that we've witnessed? Are we responding to these tiki torch Nazis out of righteousness or out of rage? Out of righteousness or rage? There are those in this room at this moment who might ask the question whether or not it even matters. Why shouldn't we respond out of our own rage and pain as to what we've seen? Wouldn't we be justified to react in that fashion, to meet the forces of evil? And let's be clear, we are discussing evil in the same manner that they approach us. This week we read in our Torah words that we as Jews, and especially as Reformed Jews, have clung to for generations. Words that I have no doubt everybody in this room knows so well they probably feel hackneyed at this point. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. And the Hasidic leader, Rabbi Simcha Bunim, understood the repetition of the word tzedek, the word justice, to mean that we must pursue justice in a just way. We must not say the ends justify the means, for to do so means that we are no longer truly pursuing a just and compassionate and sacred world. Instead, we are pursuing our own agenda, one filled with bad intentions. Or through our actions, no matter our intent, instead of spreading justice, we create the fertile ground for more injustice in the world. We have seen this again and again as people who once pursued righteousness now seek to feed their own egos, or well-intentioned programs and efforts turn out to backfire on the very people they were supposed to help. So it is with us in this moment. I know it's scary. I know I personally am scared at this moment. And it's exhausting, and it's sad, and it's infuriating. As I shared on a blog a couple of days ago, a staffer at Camp Harlem, a college student, came over to me when everything was just happening and said, "What am I even doing here? I should be doing something else." And I think we have that feeling within each and every one of us. Certainly the old punk in me would like nothing better than to curb stomp some skinhead thugs. But that isn't justice. Not even close. Surely the times demand that we act, and we must act. We've seen about the graffiti, the one in the playground, the one in the car, here in our own community. We are called to act in these moments. And act we must, but not like them. Never like them. We will not allow their hate and their penchant for violence and their disdain for justice to make us act out of fear and rage. We will not let them dictate the rules of the game. No. We will act with a defiant love in our hearts, a love for God and this world and our neighbors and our tradition, as radical and as provocative as dancing on Hitler's grave. We will not shrink from our mission as Jews, but step forward, reminding others of God's hidden light in the world that will only be revealed when we lift up the poor, support the oppressed, and care for the stranger in our midst. For we know, especially right now, what it means to be a stranger. We will act with courage, but not hate, strength, but not rage, justice, but not zealousness. The moment is calling to us, and we must answer the call to do justice justly in the world and cause the shadow of hate to crawl back under the rock. There's a famous picture of Woody Guthrie from 1941 where he's put on his guitar the words, "This machine kills fascists." A guitar. His music was his weapon against tyranny and hate. Groucho's weapon against injustice was a crazy Charleston. Our weapon is Torah, guiding the work of our hands and the words we speak. We move forward, mindful of the words of the psalmist. We say, from this point forward until Rosh Hashanah, hope in God, be strong and of good courage, hope in God. Amen. Let's continue our service on page 282. Page 282 as we rise for Elenu.